make freezer-friendly postpartum snacks. This is the first video in a series. So if this is your kind of thing, you need to subscribe. Picture this. Before you have your baby, you have a stocked freezer with all of the snacks your heart could desire. They're delicious, they're nourishing, they're helping you heal and recover. Best case scenario, right? So join me for these first two snacks and then join me for all the ones to come. The first thing we're making are these fudgy truffle inspired energy balls, and these freeze beautifully and they're delicious. The first thing we're going to do is take these sticky medjool dates. Make sure you take the pits out if they are not pitted already, and you're going to soak them in some hot water. This helps just tenderize them. This is not an essential step, but I like the way that it makes the texture a little bit more decadent. After soaking those in hot water, you're going to go to your food processor. You're going to add your pecans and your oats and blend them until they become close to a meal or a flour. At this point, you can add all your other ingredients and pulse it until it becomes a sticky dough and starts to come together. You might need to scrape down the sides occasionally just to make sure that everything is getting equally mixed in here. Now this becomes a pretty sticky dough, and that's not a problem. I personally prefer that. If you don't like it, you could add more oats, you could leave out the maple syrup, you could do less dates. You can kind of experiment with what aspects of this you want to make it the texture that you like. It's a very versatile energy ball. I'm now going to put it in the fridge, and this helps it set up so that it's easier for me to scoop it. I'm going to be scooping these energy balls onto a Silpat, but you could easily do it directly into the container you're going to store them in. You could do it onto parchment paper. You could do it on a sheet pan. For storing food in the freezer, I do think depending on how far out you are from actually eating them, it's very helpful to vacuum pack the foods. And so if I'm going to take something that is slightly squishy, like an energy ball or even a meatball, then I'm going to want to set that shape before I vacuum pack them. So by freezing these energy bites first, it helps them keep their shape for vacuum sealing. Today I'm not vacuum sealing these because they are going straight to a client of mine, but if they were for me, I would freeze them, then vacuum seal them, label them, and put them in the freezer for later. I'm dusting these with cacao powder because I just think it gives it a nicer look, and then I'm topping it with a flaky sea salt. Neither of those things is essential, but we eat with our eyes first. I love these energy balls for a number of reasons, especially for postpartum. Cacao is one of the most forward flavors in this energy ball. Cacao is actually known for boosting your mood, and that could be due to the fact that cacao stimulates the production of oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone. So it helps foster that overall sense of well-being, and that can actually also help with milk production. Cacao also has high levels of magnesium and iron, which are very beneficial nutrients when you are postpartum. Dates are full of fiber and B vitamins, both of which are also very helpful in aiding recovery. So we're gonna give these a try. Oh my gosh. It's like a fudgy brownie bite. It's not too sweet, but it feels like a treat. And if you do end up doing that little hit of flaky salt on the top, so worth it. Even if you freeze them, when you get them out of the freezer to eat, you could take just a little bit of flaky salt and pinch it on top right before you eat it. I could put away like 8 of these, and you probably will too. I also don't want you to be afraid of energy dense foods when you're postpartum. It's so important that we get enough calories, enough energy in, because your body is expending so much energy to heal and recover. You're sleep deprived, you're probably a little bit stressed, you have a lot going on, and if you're breastfeeding, don't be afraid of the energy density of a snack like this. Next, we are making these seeded snack bites that are packed with beneficial nutrients, and they freeze so well. These are going to be a staple when you are stocking your freezer for postpartum. So while these feature seeds, they actually have a base of nuts and nut butter. That helps increase the fiber content and also makes these a little bit more of an energy dense treat. As I mentioned before, that's a good thing. Any of the seeds that can be toasted, you are going to toast them in the oven along with the shredded coconut. And once they're nice and golden, then you can add all of the seeds together. Different seeds you can use here, and you can really just kind of like go with what you have on hand or go out there and grab what you think you want to focus on. Some of the seeds I'm using here are hemp hearts, pepitas, also known as pumpkin seeds, and chia seeds. You can add flax seeds, you can add black sesame seeds. I actually almost always use black sesame seeds. So do as I say, not as I do, but I would highly recommend adding those. And we'll talk about the benefits starting with black sesame seeds because they are highly regarded in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. They're thought to support lactation, boost energy, aid in recovery, and support hair and nail health, which really isn't the focus of postpartum, but it is a sign that your nutrient stores are doing well if your hair and your nails are doing well. The use of chia seeds here helps aid in digestion, milk quality, and bone health. Pumpkin seeds are chock full of iron, magnesium, zinc, and they're a good source of protein. And then hemp hearts are also a good source of plant-based protein, while they also bring to the table the same as pepitas, which are the iron and the zinc, and some omega-3 healthy fats, which help boost that milk quality again. You're going to melt together some wet ingredients to help bind all of this. That's going to be your coconut oil, your raw honey, and your almond butter. And once those are all melted, give them a good stir to make sure they're combined, and then toss them in the bowl, the seeds, the nuts, and the nut flour to help everybody kind of come together. And in the same way that you can use any seeds you want, you can also use any nuts that sound good to you. I really love using walnuts in this recipe because they're good for brain health, and we're really trying to help regulate mood in the early days of postpartum. But today I used slivered almonds, which are a really fun texture in here, as well as chopped pecans. So once you mix these up all together, they're really easy to press into a Pyrex that you could then cut bars out of. You could put it into molds. In this case, I did these mini muffin molds. I feel like you could use cupcake liners in a muffin tin and make little cups that way as well, if that's what you have on hand. I'm putting them into the silicone mini muffin molds. And they're gonna go into the freezer. They set up beautifully and then they just pop out. Let me show you here. Just pop it out. And there you have it. As we discussed earlier about making sure the item is set before you put it in something like a vacuum sealer, you don't have to worry about that here because you've already frozen them, so they are set. What I will say is when you do go to enjoy these, make sure you store them in the fridge because the coconut oil in them makes them pretty melty if they stay out of room temperature. The texture on these is unparalleled. There's a little bit of salt and cinnamon. Those add such dimension. The saltiness really balances the sweetness of the honey. The texture of the seeds with the crunch of the nuts, flawless. An added bonus today that we didn't even talk about is that both of these snacks are dairy-free. So if you find that you were needing to take milk and dairy products out of your diet postpartum, you're not having to substitute with anything weird. It's not making a dish that is so much better because of butter. There's no weird substitution that makes it taste different or off. These were made naturally to be dairy-free, and so you're not sacrificing any flavor. They are as they're meant to be. These with a cup of tea, perfect midday treat. A mug of tea steeping while you're breastfeeding. You finish breastfeeding, you sip your tea, eat your snack. Could life be any sweeter? I hope you make and enjoy these snacks. If you like this content, I'm a postpartum personal chef and I love talking about all things postpartum, pregnancy, birth, women's health. Those are my favorite topics. So please subscribe, come back and join me another time, especially as we're going to be making more freezer-friendly postpartum snacks in the days to come. So don't miss it.